Okay, Blue Group. So we are working on accented final syllable words. And so if we put an accent on a sound in a word, it's kind of like an emphasis. So when I say it's on accented, it means it's not the emphasis of the word. For example, when I say cattle, the emphasis is on the double T, cattle. I don't say cattle. And so this ending sound is on accented. It's not the main emphasis of the word. Okay? So that's what we're working on. I'm going to erase this for a second for some space. If I were to ask you to spell cattle and model and pencil and final, take a second. What do you think is so hard about learning how to spell those? What do you think? So one thing that makes them hard is the endings. Notice they all sound like they end the same way. Cattle, model, pencil, final. But they all have a different ending that make that same ul sound, that unaccented ul sound. And so we're going to look at some things to help us decide what ending it will need. Now, there are no actual rules. So this is going to be definitely kind of a study thing we need to study, okay? So here's our endings, A-L-L-E-I-L-E-N. Okay, so some things that I want you to keep in mind. When we are looking at the most common things, L-E is going to cover the most amount of words. It's a really, really common. And then we have A-L, and then we have E-L, and let's add I-L in here too. So if we have to guess, L-E is a pretty good guess because it covers the most amount of words. Now, the other thing that we can use to kind of help us out is a little trick that I just barely learned. So we have these letters right here. These are called stick letters, meaning part of the letter goes really tall, right? If it were on the line, it would go above that. If it were on that line from kindergarten in our younger grades, it would go above that dotted line. Meanwhile, we have these letters that have tails. They drop below this line, right? So if we have B, it's going to go above that dotted line, and G is going to go below that bottom line. And so these are tails and sticks. We also have letters like M, C, N, C, V that are not either of those. They just kind of fit right in between. So LE words, often the letter right before them, so this letter right here, is going to be either a stick letter or a tail letter. Not always, but often. Meanwhile, with our AL ending and our EL and our IL, we often have these kind of letters that are neither sticks nor tall. Now, even within our words, we're going to have some mix of that. That's not a fix-all, but it's just a little hint that we can use. So let's go ahead and start our sort here. Now, as I'm sorting, I want you to kind of make your own predictions where you think the words are going to go. And at the end, pause the video and you need to write down the sort in your journal so that you can have the correct answers to use throughout the week to check yourself. Okay? So here are some examples. Evil. Notice that V is not a stick letter, it's not tall, and it doesn't have a tail. And there's my IL, evil. Okay, level, same thing. In fact, it's a V also. And then EL. Okay, and then I have final and cattle. Notice there's my stick letter. LE typically has more of those. Okay, so now I'm going to just change where the iPad is for a second so that I can sort the rest. All right, so here we go. Now, you're going to sort these and you can look at the endings to help you, but I still want you to say the words as you go. For example, model, couple, novel. just a note about novel. There's actually two meanings to the word. One is the book. I'm reading a novel or a chapter book. And the other one is like, that's a novel idea. Like, unheard of, kind of. Okay? Total. Signal. Until. Travel. Pencil. Vowel. Yeah. We're going to come back to that one. Metal. Journal. Go back to that one too. Cancel. April. Fossil. And then we have saddle and local. Now notice, see, we have words such as metal, which has a stick letter, and total right before AL. So it doesn't work all the time, just remember that. But often we have N, N, C, and those are neither stick or tail. Okay, and also notice LE has way less in this sort. That doesn't, however, it is the most frequent ending in the English language. Of these endings, I mean. So even though we don't see it a lot here, keep an eye out for it in your books and things, and you'll see it a lot more. Okay, so we're going to talk about, I just want to emphasize here, we have angle and angel. Angle and angel. And this LE kind of makes it a G sound. Angle. Whereas the EL kind of lets it soften a little and makes it angel. So that is just kind of a thing to keep in mind. Angel, angle. It's going to be a little bit harder with that LE. Okay, and then these two right here I wanted to bring up. These are our oddballs for the week. Take a look at a second. See if you can guess. So the main reason they're an oddball is because both of the endings, so the ending is AL, and there is an I right before it. In this one, LE, and also there's an I before it. So there's a vowel. You'll see in all of the other examples that we have that it is a consonant right before the ending, right before these endings. So these are a little bit odd because they have a vowel right before. All right, so to make sure you pause and copy this down, you'll be ready for the week.